Hey guys, this is Corey with the Showdown Battle League, and we are back with the Week 3 recap. And we're going to go ahead and jump right in. I have Dennis of the Wisconsin Whimsicots, Carlos of the Oklahoma City Electivire, and Bryan of the Boston Braylooms.
Hello.
And we're going to go ahead and start right with the match of the week, which was Jack versus Chabin. I think this was definitely the upset of the week and potentially the season. Kind of an underdog story for Chabin. Came from behind. He's lost the first 2 games and took out Jack, who was undefeated and the first place team. So what do you guys think about this match?
I think it was just really well played by Chabin. And I also think Jack took a sort of gamble. Like, he kind of risked bringing like an agility Altaria, which is like an interesting set that could have had good payoff, but it didn't pan out. And I mean, that happens a lot. Sometimes you come up with an idea and it just doesn't work. Yeah. I think he was really weak to the Infernape, so and that kind of showed because he ended up losing a lot of his Pokemon to it.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say. Looking at this battle, immediately what you see is once he set up a Swords Dance with Infernape, there was not much that Jack could do. He switched in Arcanine. I'd assume that was his main switch-in. That's what you would naturally assume would be the main switch-in, but that was not a switch-in in this case, and Infernape proceeded to just start hitting things really hard, and that's where the battle started to take a turn in Chabin's favor.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Jack tried to switch in several of his walls, but it just really didn't do anything to stop Chabin or slow him down at all. And I mean, really, Chabin had the momentum from the start of the battle, in my opinion.
Like, I think Chabin actually played a pretty controlled game. Like, he was in control of the match for pretty much the entire game. I didn't see a point where Jack had like a chance to come back. Like, Chabin was in control of the game, like way more than Jack was. So I just think really well played by Chabin. Just solid play all around.
Yeah, and I think you know, the first 2 weeks kind of lit a fire under Chabin. He went back to his season 2 spirit, started you know, playing really well. I think this is definitely the best we've seen Chabin this season by far.
Yeah.
He just kind of outplayed Jack really at every turn that match. And from there, we will go into the play of the week, which was in Lewis's game. And he brought the sub Calm Mind Entei against Carlos. And as we saw last week with Jack and Carlos, Carlos really had no answer for it. And that ended up really winning Lewis the game and gaining him a lot of momentum. And Carlos, do you want to talk about this match a little bit?
Yeah, really when it came to it, there's not much I could do in the situation against Sub Calm Mind. After coming last week, I was gonna maybe make some trades or pick up a free agent in the maybe week 5 in the future to get ready for the strategy when I face Jack or someone later in the season. I was not expecting it whatsoever this week, and completely caught me off guard, which is obviously part of why it worked so well this week. But then just naturally, it's a strategy that does work well against my team, and I think against a lot of teams. It's not a strategy you expect from things like Entei and Cobalion and stereotypical physical attackers. Especially in the situation where I had a few mons that were easy to set up on, and yeah, he basically just had me stuck there when my main strategy in this match was to set up with Terrakion, and I just couldn't do that versus a sub Pokemon.
So we'll see if Carlos can get some kills next week. He's been struggling a little bit on that recently. And I do want to mention that this recap will not include Kevin against Christian, just because of some scheduling issues in that match. So we will not be including that one. And next we'll go on to Jarrett versus Joe. This is going to be a win for Jarrett. Some of the notable plays that I took away from this was the Sludge Bomb Mew hitting the Tapu Bulu. And I also wanted to give a shout out to Joe for how he's been using Alolan Persian. I really think that it's kind of underrated, and he's been using it very well, especially with Parting Shot. gives him a lot of opportunities to gain some momentum. And the Pasho Berry on Powdon by Joe was also a really nice play, and I think that really helped him a lot. It didn't help him enough to win the match, but it was a very nice play by Joe.
I'd have to say my favorite play of this match was the Rock Blast dodge. I had to say that really was a fun play in that match. Yeah, overall, it was a good match. That Rock Blast mitt definitely hurt early on, and it sort of really helped Jarrett. He was able to play off it really well. Not everyone would be able to, and he further used Thundurus as his way to kill a few of his Pokemon. He uses a sack later on, and it was just that miss ended up being I think a big part of this match.
Yeah, and I think Jarrett just gained the upper hand, and really Joe couldn't really do much about it. He did try, but ultimately he got the loss. And then next we'll go into Bryan versus Josh. This is going to come out with a win for Bryan. One of the things I really liked is the Akaberry Magiarna stopping the Fire Fang from Lycanroc. And of course the Belly Drum Slurpuff missing the Play Rough and essentially costing Josh the entire match. What do you guys think about this? Bryan, you want to talk about it a little bit?
So it seems like Bryan got called. But yeah, I think this is the he complained about this to me earlier. He said he'd like to win a match legitimately without scumming someone out. So he's looking forward to next week for that. But personally, yeah, I thought Bryan played pretty well. Made a lot of decent predictions, like you said, pretty good predictions, and prepped really well. And overall, it's a pretty well played match. I don't have much to say.
Yeah, I think Bryan did a really good job on the prep. Although the Unburden, max attack Slurpuff, I think if he wouldn't have missed, could have potentially won the game for Josh.
Oh, 100%.
So yeah. that was kind of disappointing for both of them. I'm sure Josh, wasn't happy that he had the miss, and Bryan has had very questionable wins this season. So I'm really thinking that he really wants to win a match legitimately, and that would kind of give him a little more precedence to winning matches and being a kind of a powerhouse this season rather than just relying on hacks to win. And so next up, we'll do Cody versus Frank. To me, there wasn't really anything too exciting about this match. Cody won the match. Cody really just outplayed Frank. There's not a whole lot else to say about that. I do want to point out Frank did use Mega Absol very well at the end to save some differential. But he also made a lot of questionable plays, especially in the beginning. I know he switched in Garchomp to a Moonblasting Cresselia. And a couple of other plays that I wasn't really sure why he did. But and then he almost kind of pulled it out at the end. I think Cody kind of choked at the end too. That's really all I have for that one. Nothing too crazy on either side, to be honest. What do you guys think?
I think he was a bit too reliant on if you look at what he brought, a bunch of also very squishy Pokemon that I don't think could switch into many things. So it was, I don't know. I guess in the future, perhaps maybe like one extra more versatility would be better. But that's all I have to say.
I don't know. He could also just have brought like more Scarf things to answer the Heracross because, like the Heracross was a big issue for him. Because it was Scarf and he didn't have anything that could outspeed it, and he didn't have enough priority to take it down once he had lost some of his Pokemon. So he kind of just struggled with it because he didn't have anything faster. So maybe like if you're bringing Hyper Offense, then you just get a Scarf Pokemon so you can deal with other Scarfers too.
Yeah, but overall, again, nothing too crazy in this match. And that really kind of brings us into the next match, Tony against Hans. Nothing too crazy here. Hans did win the match. The one notable play that I wanted to point out is the Scarf Magnezone getting 3 kills. So that was pretty momentum building for Hans. But other than that, nothing too dramatic happening. What are your thoughts?
I
think
mean,
the same. Oh no, sorry, Carlos, you go.
I'm really intrigued to see what's the black Pokemon's name again? I'm just blanking on it. It's a new Mon.
Necrozma.
Necrozma. He hasn't used it all too much this season that I've noticed, and he's brought it a lot, but I feel like it's a Pokemon he can utilize it on. Maybe bring it Scarf a few times and surprise something. I don't know. I feel like in this match especially, it could have been something he utilized, but it died early. Zoroark was something he used early in the season, also died early on. Yeah, it just like Corey is saying, there was nothing that jumped out in this match. It just seemed like one coach outplayed the other.
And
I think there were some questionable things like switching in Diancie into Slowbro. But other than that, yeah, not much else to say. That's about it.
And with that, we will move to the last match, Ryan against Dennis. This is a win for Ryan. Couple of things, a pretty big hacks moment this battle. Manaphy getting a crit on a multiple boost Tapu Fini with Calm Mind. So that really, I don't know if that would say that cost Dennis the game, but it definitely hurt him pretty bad, and he couldn't really recover from that. A couple other notable plays. Calm Mind Kofagrigus was pretty cool to see. Didn't really do much, but it was kind of cool to see. And then Alolan Raticate put in some work. And of course the double miss from the Ditto and the Alolan Raticate because of Hustle. And Dennis, I'm going to let you talk about this match a little bit.
Going into the match, I pretty much determined, okay, Fini is my win. Defensive and then Calm Mind, and I can win. So, but I had also multiple other ways to win. At the end, I think if I saved Ditto, because one Sucker Punch missed, right? I should have switched out. And then I would have had Ditto against Punny, so anytime he brought in a Mega Lopunny, I could then kill him on, bring in Ditto, hit something super. And so I think I still could have won, but and also my questionable Earthquake on Buzzwole, that was also bad. I actually miscalculated something, forgot to factor in Hustle and Life Orb, and so I got a completely different number. If I clicked, Roost, Leech Life, Superpower, any one of them, I think also it would have been a very different game. I would have had my Buzzwole to again counter his Mega Lopunny and I guess have a sack for Victini. So I think I had multiple chances to win. After the Tapu Fini crit, I might have just tilted too hard. My mental fortitude was not there. I was not thinking properly, and I did not play well. And Ryan, well, he played better than me, deserved the win. That's all I have to say.
Yeah, when I look at this match, the two things I take out of this mostly is how well Dennis used Ditto. Early on, he used Ditto really well, and he's just saying, he had more opportunities to use Ditto. Ditto is a really hard Pokemon to use, and if he continues to use it this well throughout the season, it can be a really scary mon for teams to prep for, because you can't really prep for it. You can just sort of know it's there and try and avoid it, and be careful to not let him copy certain Pokemon of yours. It can get pretty scary with Ditto, and we can also see that Ryan's continuing to have a really strong start to the season, even though there was that crit. It was a pretty big crit, but also I think he would have been able to get through Tapu Fini without it. But yeah, Ryan's definitely having a strong start to the season.
I just want to pop in about the crit. I don't know. My sub, I think after hitting 2.5, it would take 2 energy balls to break the sub. So I was in a position to basically stall and keep a sub up. But yeah, he played really well. Yeah, that's all I want to say. That's it. I got my revenge too by critting Kofag. It's 50-50.
So yeah, with that match, that's the end of the Week 3 recap. Ryan is now the only undefeated coach this team, or this week. And so some games to look forward to. We have Jack versus Bryan. It's going to be a rematch from season 3, so that'll be a good one. Kind of a
Enjoy.
grud match there. And Carlos versus Dennis is another one that's going to be something I'm excited to see. And Lewis versus Jarrett. I think both of them have been playing really well. So that one's going to be a good match as well. Something else that I think is really important this far into the season is talking about predictability with team comps. We've done 3 weeks now. We're getting ready to start week 4, and people are, you're starting to bring the same couple of Pokemon every single week. Now is when people are going to pick up on that, so it's going to make it easier to prepare. So that's just something to watch for, to see if people keep bringing the same teams or if they start mixing it up a little bit. And with that, we will end it here and see you guys next week for the week 4 recap.